Hey, what's up guys, TotallyDubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review on the AOC Q2963PM. So this monitor is quite unique to me personally because I've never come across it in shops, and it's something that it's quite nice to see a little bit of different variation in monitors. And the reason why is because of its resolution. It's a 2560x1080 at 60 Hz. So therefore it means you've got a really stretched out screen at the same sort of height that you'd be normally used to. It is a 29-inch IPS display at 5 milliseconds G2G. So it's quite a big screen, and it's quite interesting screen to see. Furthermore, its aspect ratio is 21:9, which is not the same as the norm of 16:9 or 16:10, and therefore creates a quite intriguing cinema experience. And by intriguing I mean it's almost native resolution when it comes to cinema experience. It's something I'm going to demonstrate and show you in a little while. Before going into that, I would like to talk about the features and the build quality of the monitor and the OSD. And then I would like to go on to the gaming performance, and then furthermore into the other applications such as movie experience and video editing, which I think is where it shines at. So its build quality is decent. It's got an intriguing design. It's quite bulky at the back. But what's interesting is actually its stand. It's almost like a quick release, almost like on a bike, a quick release stand which can be taken apart very, very simply, and is absolutely great in terms of portability, as much as this wouldn't be as portable as I would like. But the stand doesn't really offer much flexibility. You've only got this tilt function, which is decent. I think it's a 40-degree angle, but apart from that it doesn't go up or down, which is a bit of a shame, and it doesn't pivot in any sort of direction. So the stand is a little bit disappointing. It could have been a little bit better, especially for a desk. Imagine if we imagine that we have a desk which is quite low, then you're going to have some troubles looking down at the monitor. Despite an IPS display having quite good viewing angles, I did find that this one kind of struggled when it comes to looking at it from the top or the bottom. As soon as you go up, it seems like the colours get washed out. But if you go from the side, as in left and right, like that, the viewing angles were quite good. So it's a little bit of a shame that the stand kind of lets down the monitor. It would have been better if we had a proper stand that could be nicely adjusted and everything, and therefore it would improve the viewing experience for this monitor. Now, in terms of the inputs and the outputs this monitor has, I think it's best to show you on the Amazon web page over here. If I just zoom over here, you'll be able to see a couple of things. First of all, over here you can see at the back of the monitor you've actually got a little flap which you open up, and it comes with a VESA mount. Then over here you'll be just briefly able to see you've got a display port out, which is quite interesting, a HDMI, which actually works with certain Android devices, and you've got a input and output for your audio, and obviously you've got the power. Then at the side you've got a VGA display port and a DVI. So really, in terms of inputs, you've got everything, and in terms of outputs, the display port that's over here allows you to daisy chain certain devices. So therefore you can have several devices connected up to the monitor, which is absolutely brilliant, and I think it's really nice to have that. Just to further iterate the stand, as you'll be able to see, this is how it looks like on the side. As I said, it would be kind of pointless showing you guys this on the monitor itself. It would be quite hard to show, especially with such a big screen. So I thought these pictures from Amazon would suffice and would actually give you a really good idea, and actually really professional photos being taken. As you'll be able to see on the right hand side, you've got certain buttons which I'm going to show you right now. So over here on the right hand side, which you can barely see my hand over here, you've got these buttons. The top one is quite simply to switch it on and off, and also to go return. If I just zoom in a little bit over here, because that's where all the OSD things go, you'll be able to see the buttons. Over here you've got also a little blue light, which you can see just by my hand or the reflection. and this is the OSD. Now the OSD is decent, but it looks a bit tacky and a bit cheap. It's almost like the resolution is a bit off. It's got nothing to do with me as it's the OSD, so it should be sorted out by AOC. So the bottom button changes where your inputs go, so that's absolutely brilliant. And then your the second from the bottom, you've also got the different aspect ratios. As you can see, 21:9, 16:9, 16:10, 4:3, and 1:1. So it's 21:9 as a default. You've got also a volume button, which you can adjust the volume, and yes, this has a little bit inbuilt speakers, but they're absolutely horrid to listen to, so I highly suggest not using them. And then finally, you've got a simple menu to adjust different sort of settings that you'd want. For example, the contrast, the brightness, and even certain things like the overdrive, which bring down that response time to 5 milliseconds. So you can go through all of these, which I can just quickly briefly go through. Very simple, and everything that you'd need in a monitor. So the OSD is decent, but the look of it looks a bit disappointing, especially in comparison to other AOC models I have previously reviewed. Especially seeing as this is going to be used as a workstation monitor, or sort of a video editing or even cinema experience monitor, you kind of want that to be sort of flashy to kind of reflect the market it's trying to appeal to. But anyway, in terms of the OSD, it's a little bit disappointing, but in terms of the inputs, I'm very much impressed. In terms of the overall build quality, it is decent, but I would have preferred a better stand. I think the stand is sturdy as it is for a big monitor like this, and it's very well at withstanding any sort of movements. But again, as I said, with the lack of adjustment, it's a little bit of a shame, because when you've got such a big screen like this, you'd like to move it around however you want. Especially if you wanted to pivot it as a designer, that would be really interesting if you could have done that, or even laid it down flat to view different sort of different ways. So that would have been really interesting, but unfortunately we don't have that option. Anyway, so design and features aside, what about the panel? Well, the panel, as I described, is 21:9, and therefore I find it absolutely great for multitasking, video editing, and movie watching, and even gaming. So first of all, gaming experience. Now, I was playing on certain different games, Battlefield 4, Plants vs Zombies, Garden Warfare, and I found the experience to be really intriguing. Because I had more of a screen, I could see more of a peripheral vision in the game, and it was a great experience. It almost felt like I had 3 monitors on my side, and I was able to see everything around me. That said, with a higher resolution like that, you're going to need a more powerful PC to push out those higher frames per second. In my case, I had no problem, because normally I'm accustomed to using 1440p, which is a big push, and this monitor, the 2560, also pushed it despite being at only 1080p. So in other words, to get a good frame rates on it, you're going to need a good graphics card, or you're going to have to lower down your setting for the same graphics card you're going to use on a 1920 x 1080p monitor. Hopefully I'm making sense with that. But in terms of the actual gaming experience, I didn't notice any sort of input lag despite its 5 millisecond GTG, and more so, I really enjoyed viewing it. And on that note, the actual viewing experience itself. I really found the colors out of the box to be decent, although not great. It needed a little bit of adjustment, and I did use the color sustainer by Yakisoba to adjust it a little bit and put a little profile on it to change the colors a little bit to my preference, and to shift the gamma a little bit. But that said, with a little bit of adjustment, you can get really nice colors off it, especially deep, rich blacks. As you can see at the background over here, this is my wallpaper, and I've got black sides on over here because the wallpaper is not natively 2560 by 1080, and you'll be able to see the black over here is really good. It's not like it's grey or anything like that, it's really a deep black, so it's really nice to see that in an IPS non-glossy display. So yes, it is a matte finish display. So viewing experience was good. But as I said, in terms of the viewing angles previously, if you're going to look at it from the top or the bottom, you might have some troubles, but from the sides, it is very good. Now, in terms of what I think this monitor fits absolutely perfectly towards is workstation, as a workstation monitor, or as a movie watching monitor. So first of all, in terms of video editing, for example, here you can see is Sony Vegas, and you'll be able to see that you've got the long timeline over here, something that would have probably been cut around here on a normal 29-inch screen without that large aspect ratio. So it's quite nice to see all of this, and it's quite nice to see my video with plenty of space and loads of things to do over here. I could even do this, which is kind of unheard of for me to do that, and even open up something on the side over here. Normally I would not even be able to do that, even at 1440p, 1440p, sorry. So in terms of video editing, I think it's absolutely fabulous because it really does exactly what it says on the tin and helps me video edit the way I want. Now, movie experience. Over here I've got the Incredible Hulk in HD, and you can see straight away that as it's a HD movie, as a Blu-ray movie, the aspect ratio is great, and you get a really nice cinema experience. Now if I just turn down the volume a little bit and play the movie, you'll be able to see the experience looks really good. And you can see that that looks kind of like a movie. It's almost like sitting in front of the theaters, especially when you're sitting in front about this far away from the monitor. You're going to be experiencing a really nice movie experience. So I was really impressed by this, and as you can see again from the IPS display itself, you can see how it looks, and it looks very good indeed. So overall, I was really impressed by this monitor. I think it's a monitor that really works well for its intended use. Even taken out of its intended use for photo viewing, gaming, or even just browsing the internet, I think it does really well. And its colors were decent, although not perfect, but even with a little bit of adjustment, give you that really nice rich tone that you'll be looking for. At its reasonably affordable price for its specs, I feel that this monitor is very easy to recommend. Personally, if it was me, I would have probably removed the stand over here and then VESA mount it with a custom stand, allowing me more flexibility. That's what I would personally do if I had bought this monitor and was using it at a workspace or even on my desk. So I would be spending a little bit extra, say maybe 20 to 30 pounds extra for a decent stand, but then it would give me greater flexibility and better viewing angles, so to speak, because I wouldn't be looking down at the monitor, I'd be looking straight at the monitor, and therefore getting better colors, and therefore getting better experience for viewing this monitor. So overall, this monitor is really good. I'm quite impressed. It's not quite perfect. It could have been a little bit better in terms of its colors, in terms of its stand, and in terms of its OSD. But other than that, fundamentally as a panel, as far as panels go and as far as the aspect ratio goes, I think it does an incredibly great job. And I really do suggest you guys checking it out if you are in the market for such a monitor. Anyway guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Make sure if you like, comment and subscribe. I'll be very much intrigued to see what you guys think about it and where you guys would use it, and if you would use it at all. And yeah, that's about it. So don't forget to subscribe, and I've been Totally Dubbed, and this has been the AOC Q2963PM. Why do they make it always so hard? Alright guys, Totally Dubbed out. Bye bye.